Hello again, folks. Sorry, I had a little hiccup there. Had to restart the stream. Ready to go. So, as per earlier, the camera is over here now because I'm using my big monitor. I've got it set up with a little target area so I can see where to keep stuff. Um, OBS is still dragging the machine down slowly, but that's okay. So I was just up here just a minute ago. I reran all the tests for my photo import script because I made the last thing. Last time I was streaming, I basically put in this this test and this how to deal with large movie files where the EXIF tool didn't work by default on large files. You had to actually give it a configuration to say, hey, deal with large files, which who knows why that is, but that's how it works. That kind of stuff always seems funny for me. It's like it's almost like, why not just make it work with large files to begin with? I'm sure there's a reason for that. It's kind of one of those funny things. But anyways, the only other thing I want to do is I'm going to run open diff on the import photos, and then also user local bin import photos. I just want to make sure, because my deployment is basically just copying the file over into user local bin, which is on my path, which basically means if I call the file, it'll work. So status 0 differences. So yeah, I have copied the thing over, so it's ready to go. Actually, whoops, you can't see all that, can you? Yeah. So here's the open diff. If there had been any difference in it, actually I'll show you. So OpenDiff is a nice little tool on Macs, but if we come down here and you say blah, which I won't commit. So yeah, Git now sees this as a change, right? Git status says, hey, that's changed. Then we do git diff. Whoop, gif diff. Git diff. Wow, brain went funny there. You can see, like, here's the change that I made. Great. So I'm not going to commit that. I'll roll that back in just a second. But if I open diff again, so import photos is the one that's sitting right here in this directory. So ls this l, same thing. And then the one that I used when I call it. So when I do this, that actually just, well, right now it actually probably call the one in this directory. But that calls the one in my path, which you can see with which import photos, and that tells you where it is. So open diff, import photos, which is the local one, user local, local bin, import photos. There we go. And now what we should see is one difference as it chews through. Yeah, so one difference. And you can see this blue highlight right here shows me that on this particular file, which is on my desktop, there's that change, and then it pins where it's going and where it actually entered the other one. So OpenDiff's a great tool for figuring out where stuff has changed in text files. Super useful. And in this case, great. So I don't actually need to do this, but I'm going to do just reset hard just to get used to doing this. Boom. Now, if we do open diff again, user local bin import photos, we should see the same thing, or we should see them identical. Yeah, so 0 differences. And spinning beach ball. Beach ball. If I quit, is that gonna work? There we go. So now what I'm gonna do, so I'd been doing that on my desktop just to make it easier to see. So this is the repository. So I'm just gonna git push. And this is going to push all the changes to the master repository, or the kind of source repository that I pull from. That's another repository sitting locally on my machine that is sitting in my Git repo place. I don't actually use GitHub because I want to keep most of my repositories I want private, and I don't want to pay for private ones. Plus, I can just keep them on my machine. I could set up a Git server, and maybe that's something we'll do at some point. And there's actually code commit that Amazon has now, where it's basically their hosted Git repository stuff, which I've been using a little bit at work. but haven't really started using yet personally. I may. I've set up a personal Amazon account, which is what I would be doing a bunch of the stuff off of. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, the one thing I do need to do is check my levels. How am I talking? Okay, so that seems... Oh, yeah, sorry, that was loud. And if I type, is that super loud? That's not too bad. Let me back it off. Just a touch. There we go. Oh. I gotta be careful clicking around because I'm gonna click and drag something accidentally. While the machine's going, because it's super slow. Anyways, so what we're gonna do today is find out where Safari went. There we go. Goodness. Let's just go to stack, just to keep that there. What we're going to do today is in the Hub initiative. Has this finished yet? Nope. I'm going to throw this off to the side just so I can watch it. In the Hub initiative, which is actually this Hub int, bring up another window. I'm going to build a JSON schema file for the first JSON file. And so I'm going to go to my desktop, open it, and I'm going to just bring this to Sublime Text to start with. Slowly but surely. He says waiting. I think it's going. Try it again. All right, we're going to restart Sublime Text. Hey, there we go. All right, so here's our press release. Oh, something I just realized. You can't see what I do in the menu when I'm doing this. Okay. Maybe I'll... Oh, okay, so I guess what I should do is resize that up and to the left at some point. Noted. So here's the press release I wrote the other day. That's part of the Amazon style thing where you basically write a press release as if you're doing the project. So one of the things that this talks about is the text snippet format. So that's the first thing that I'm going to build. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to try and remember how to do JSON schemas because it's been a while since I've done JSON schemas. All right, and so I'm going to use an application called Oxygen, which is an XML editor, but it also does JSON. I'm a few versions behind on it, but this has been hugely helpful. I do a lot of XML work, or I used to do a lot of XML work, and still do just a bunch of JSON work, and it's pretty solid for that. Actually wonder if they've got validation stuff yet for JSON. Look that up. JSON. Oh yeah, look at that schema. There you go. I have no idea what version. Updated as of May 2019. Yeah, so I'm probably super old on this. JSON schema validator. Online internet. Hey, look at this. Of course, I don't really want an online one. I want one that I can download. Whatever. And I've got, so I should have one actually. AJV. So it's AJV. Oh, I know what's going on. Or I know one of the things that's going on is now I'm also doing this push. AJV. Oh. Python validator. I thought I would have had a validator still installed. JSON schema validator. From JSON schema import validate. All right, so now what we're gonna do. Whoops. See if this is still a thing. March 2019. Good. JSON schema. See if I don't already have that pinned. Don't. JSON schema. Oh, actually, let's see what I've got under JSON schema. So I use Pinboard for all my bookmarks. Numeric types. Okay. There you go. JSON 261. Ah, it should have been pinned. Yeah, November 2017. AJV. AJV. And some validator. Okay. Yeah, JSON schema is what I did. I don't know why that didn't show up. Weird. Space telescope. Understand JSON schema. All right. So we're going to do pip install. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I didn't, I bet I didn't install it globally. I bet I just installed it for, oh, it's in, this is Python 2. I need Python 3. Yeah, the Mac still uses Python 2 as its default Python. I think there's a way to change that. I don't want to mess with it right now, though, just because I'm afraid that's going to break a billion things. So we're going to do this. We're going to make a virtual environment for Python. Where's my basically thing? Oh, I used to have. I had a different set of notes. Installation and virtual environments. Yeah, okay, here's my notes on how to do Python virtual environments. I can half remember this stuff, but I don't do it often enough. So again, one of the biggest things that I do is just take notes. I think I've said this before, but let's see. Do it this way. List, Dropbox, Grimoire, word count line. I have 3,255 notes in my little Grimoire here, and that's not all of them. Anyways, Python venv, whoops, Python 3. It's actually probably the wrong place to do that. Oop. So we're gonna make a directory for JSON schemas. And we're gonna put a virtual environment in there. Yeah, we want to ignore the virtual environment. I have a bunch of stuff running right now, and it's all angry, because that git push is also chewing up stuff. Maybe we shouldn't have done that right now. OBS burning a bunch of CPU. Git burning a bunch of CPU. Everything's on fire. That's the way it goes. Anyways, so now what we're gonna do, yeah, so in here, echo ve and v, because I want to ignore that directory. Pipe that git ignore. Okay, yeah, so there's going to be a JSON file that's in there. That's fine. So now, I'm not using it though, am I? You got to do source, virtual environment, bin, activate. And now we should see which Python. Yeah, so now we're using the Python that's in this virtual environment directory. So right here, which deactivate gets you out of that. If you spell it right. Now if I do which Python, you'll see it goes to that main Python, use your local bin. So that's the top level Python. And so we call that one with version, it's 276. If we go back to source, whoops, virtual environment, bin, activate. And now we do which Python. We'll see it's that same one in the virtual environment, and hopefully this will say 3 something. All right, 373. There we go. All right, so now we've got a working Python to mess with. So now we're gonna do, actually there's another one that I need to do here for my notes. Activate the environment, upgrade pip. Pip install, upgrade pip. So I could 100% copy, just do copy paste. Actually, I'm gonna get one of these out of here. There's a window that you don't need to see because it's stalled out and it's just being slow. Oops. However, you want to get that one. There we go. So I absolutely could just copy and paste this pip install upgrade pip, but increasingly I find it helpful to type stuff. A lot of the times, I don't do it all the time, but a bunch of the time it seems helpful. I don't know if that's better or worse. Now I'm going to pull up OBS again. Oh, especially when I say, when I still install. That's also interesting when you biff stuff. But like, that's okay. I need to get it around there as much as possible, hopefully without falling, because that'll make it seem, so I guess it's weird because I'm looking straight at the code. Yeah, and sorry, there's that little strangly thing up there that's attached to my light that I use back there. And I can't easily make that go away, so that's just gonna be a little distracting. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't like it, but I can't help it at the moment. Anyways, pip. Anyways, go to the right place and then type pip. Get that out of here. grade pip. So this will bring us up to the most recent pip, which I don't remember what that stands for. Python something. Installing packages. That's really not it at all. Yeah, see, my notes say this moves pip from 8x to 9x. And of course, it's actually pip going to 19 now. Yeah, so I originally wrote this note in 2016, and it's now apparently just edited it in March 2019. So that's the other thing about these notes is I just, they hang around for a long time, and when I need them, same thing we'll see with this JSON stuff. Like, it's been a while since I've done a JSON schema. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I kind of don't have to. Because I've got notes. Pip install JSON schema, and now we shouldn't get the warning about 2 dot whatever because we're in a 3 dot whatever environment. Oh, the one thing I didn't do? I did not get some music, but I have the headphones. All right, so JSON schema is live. Cool. Bear with me 1 minute. Ooh, ding, nice. So now what we need to do is, oh, actually, I guess I can pull this window back down so you can see it all. And so nothing really should have changed there, right? But what we can do is go back to Oxygen, and we're going to save this. Hubinit, JSON schemas, we're just going to do this. Text, snippet, oops, you can't see that. Schema.json. And now we're going to make another one, which we're going to call text snippet example.json. And now we're going to actually turn on the music. Okay. And then so now we're going to go back to schema. Yeah, so I use that nunce word of JSON with a tab with a dash. Node validator. Where's my Python validator? Oh, interesting. So JSON schema input text snippet example text snippet schema. It's gonna blow up, of course, because it ain't valid. Oh wait, that seems like that shouldn't have worked. Schema. Okay. Don't like that. Reconfig Python validator. We did see Python code for that, right? There we go. With a validate JSON. Here's how to run a test. Okay, so there's a good chance in Code Runner, my little Code Runner, that I've got a running batch of code with this. JSON schema test. Oh, it's in Ruby. Schema file. Schema file. Begin with. That doesn't seem like it. Trying to see what works. No, JSON schema. I want to do Python. I'm surprised I don't have the Python code in Code Runner. Wow, that song is bad. Schema. Yeah, one thing I wish. Ooh, filter. I was about to say one thing I wish they had was a way to filter this stuff. Leaderboard to JSON, leaderboard. Huh. Wow, I didn't have anything. Okay, that's fine. We'll make one. Oh, goodness, come here. User event. Oh. JSON schema. Schema. This is gonna choke. So now you got to put this one in the global. Is it pip3 install? Let me get out of this directory. I'm going to do a new directory. For Code Runner, it's not inside the virtual environment. So I think it's pip3 install JSON schema. So with luck, once this goes, hey, all right, get push finished. Ta-da. So now what I'm going to do is, this is what the directory I was working in. I don't need it anymore because it's good. Ooh, except maybe not. I need to read through this and see if there's other stuff I need to do. Never mind, I was going to delete it, but now I'm not. All right, pip installed. See what Code Runner's got for us now. See if this runs. Okay, that worked. So now we're going to save this just as it is. Whoops. JSON schema validator. Like with this code, clearly I've done this before. I just haven't. I just didn't save it in Code Runner. So this, I am just gonna copy and paste. Oh, Ubuntu. Wow, it must have been doing it on a virtual machine. That's weird. Let's see, where am I? All right, PWC is my little shortcut for print working copy. So that gets me to there. I need to update it at some point to actually be able to pull in file names. Basically, it just throws it to the clipboard. Because what would be awesome is if I didn't have to do this twice. Schema pass, schema pass. All right, let's see what happens here. With open that. So slow. Run succeeded. So that doesn't make sense. Because that's not really a schema. What if we try and make it a schema, I guess? XML to JSON with validator. Oh, there you go. All right. JSON schema examples. Oh, okay. Web. We can look at that. Web tour schemas. These are some schemas that I built a while ago. For here we go. I do have a bunch of schemas in here. HTML, JSON schemas for some of the feeds that we had going for one of our Microsoft products. All players, course details, static. All players should be a good one. Yeah, and this stuff, these are all feeds that people can see, so there's no problem showing this. So this is what a JSON schema actually looks like here. And so now what I'm going to do type object additional properties false. I like putting in this comments up the top. So now what I want to do is, actually let's do this. I'm going to throw this one to Sublime Text. Just so I can see it. But I'm actually going to type this again to get it in my finger. So I can close this one. So here's our schema. Whoops. Oh, this could be tricky. So the comment isn't really the thing. The first thing that you really start with is an object. So type object. Additional properties means you can't add. So properties defines the stuff that you can put inside of it. Additional properties false means you can't put anything in it, basically. Can't add other things other than what is specifically defined, which I like. Because I want to make sure stuff doesn't float in there. Like I like making the schemas as strict as possible. The idea, like, there's the thing with like be really strict in what you produce, but really liberal in what you take. So I want to make really sure that as much as possible these schemas have the tightest controls set on them. So we're going to do that for all these. And then now I actually got to finish this. So actually now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mock up at least a little bit of what this thing should look like. Snippet. All right. Type object. Oh, actually, I do want to keep that where I can get to it in Oxygen because I want to be able to close stuff. Properties. Yeah, so it's the top level object, and then required. These are the properties that are required, and the properties being kind of the next level of keys. And what's going to be required is snippet. All right, now we're going to go back to code runner. We're going to see what happens if we run this now. Oh, validate. Oh, there we go. Additional properties are not allowed. Key was unexpected. Aha, good. Okay, so now we're actually seeing failures, which is what we wanted. So it turned out that when we just put in random JavaScript, it didn't know what to do with it. Like it just validated it, didn't think anything of it. But I'm guessing once we did this type object, that lets it know that that's the. And I think maybe all JSON schemas have to start with a type object up top. Can you have a JSON that doesn't have? I think at one point you could have a JSON that the opening element was not a curly braces but a square bracket for like an array, but I actually don't know if that's possible really anymore. Anyways, it's an object. So the reason that I think that happened was because I didn't save this. So now that I've saved that file, because it was still seeing key value because I hadn't saved the file. Sublime Text saves automatically when you leave the file. I'm really used to that. Oxygen doesn't. There may be a way to turn that on, but that messes with me. Okay, here we go. Right, so all this junk basically just means validation failed. Cool. And then what I'm really looking for here is failed validation. Additional properties in schema is false. Required snippet type object. On instance snippet. Failed validation. Additional properties in schema. All right. I don't think I spelled that wrong because I think I copied it. I did. All right, let me take that out for a second. I just want to get to passing now. So I've got a failure, and now I'm doing what Sandy Metz calls shameless green. I just want to get whatever I have to do, as dirty as it is, to get to green, to passing. And obviously, I'm not really running a test suite on this yet. I'll get to that. Right now, this is just me kind of getting my head back in the game of things. Oh, okay. So once it validates, I wonder if we can print anything from that. So validation, there is no pass, it looks like. Actually, let's see what happens when we print it. Print none. Okay, yeah. So if you get none, there are no errors. If you get errors, then you get the validation errors. So none is good. None means pass. Now we just got to figure out why. Oh, gotcha. Additional properties false. Required. I know what's going on. So in JSON schema, and okay, I'm starting to get my head back around this. So required says snippet. So, whoops, let me take out that comma because you can't have floating commas like that. So now this is going to fail again. And the reason is, even though I've called it required, I haven't actually added the property into the schema to hit it. So failed validating additional properties in schema, blah, 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 on instance, snippet, brick.fox. So that's a weird message, but I think this will fix it. Oops, hang on. It's just properties, right? Yeah, properties. So if I know I just talked about how I don't often cut and paste, but that's what we're going to be doing right now. So now we're going to do snippet. So this is where the actual property gets defined. So the contents of the object. And I don't know if we actually need to do anything. Because what you'll see is, so all this stuff right here is for the root object, and then this property right here is for the metadata object, so the key and value of metadata, which is inside the root, right? It's at the root level. It's the first level in, and then it has its own set of it's an object, no additional properties required, and then the various properties that are in there. And this is where we actually get to set the different types of them. So let's see what happens if we try and validate. And actually, I'm just curious about this. If we try and validate without giving it a type, and we just let it know that it's there, I'm just curious to see if it works. We definitely are going to call it an object because it's going to have... actually, no, it's not. It's going to be text. Okay, so it did validate. But it is actually going to be a string. And this is actually valid, right? Because the snippet is, here's the actual snippet, and there it is. So that's our string. Put that up right now. And now this should still pass. Man, it should be bap, bap, bap. Yeah, so these things take a while. Part of that is because I'm talking, but a bigger part of that right now is because the machine is super slow. So what should happen, just to test it, is if I put a number in here, I think it's going to fail. I hope it fails. There you go. Yeah, so it got a number, but it's looking for a string. Cool. Yeah, so, all right, I'm going to work on this without super building in a test suite for it. I'll do that at another time just because I want to make some progress on this tonight. And I've got some code I'll dig around and find it that basically lets me do some automated testing of this. In fact, it's probably in here somewhere. Validators. Yeah, so there's some Ruby code. Builders. Yeah, these things build out files. Like, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Again, these are all public feeds, or they're all feeds that power other things. They're going across the wire in clear text, so nothing. Don't think you're getting anything there. Let's see. The song just had a ding, just like the text message. So now what I want to do is bring up formats. So I took some notes. So every feed should have a from hub ID, an ID of the content, a set of tags, a timestamp, so now what I'm going to do is do it this way. Required. Wow, whoops. Formatting kind of freaked out there. This should pop in a second. I like to keep things alphabetical. So from hub ID. There we go. Snippet is a string. So now what's going to happen is so this is required. This is going to fail in two different ways. The first way is I haven't actually added the from hub ID to this JSON. The second way is even though I've required it, I haven't actually defined it in properties. So so I'm actually curious which way it shows the failure happens, or if it shows 2. Validating required in schema. Yeah, so I think that's saying that it couldn't find failed validating required from hub ID. Yeah, so if we add this, oh, actually, whatever, it's fine. Oh yeah, so I think that was calling for this one. Whatever, we know it's what it is. From hub ID. Actually, how about this? UUID. So these are all going to be UUIDs. So I might as well drop in a UUID. Get a nice little comma going there. Just for fun. Oh, please. Let me see if there's a way to do preference editor, open save. I don't know, it's just it. Sorter. No. Less convenient. 2008, whatever. Let me just look for 1 second. I want to see if there's an autosave on here because it keeps burning me. Views, media shortcuts, save hooks. This is one of the most preferenceable apps ever. Save file, make backup, save file, backup file extension. Yeah, so there's some ways to actually, if I call to validate, save all before calling external tool. So there's probably a way to actually save and call an external tool and have it do the validation. We're not gonna mess with that today. But yeah, so autosave every n number of minutes, but that's not super helpful. So not for now. All right. So we're going to add from hub ID, which is going to be type of string. This should pass. Yeah, building the schema shouldn't take a huge amount of time. However, there's some stuff that I kind of want to do to it. JSON schema limit text. Oh yeah, here's a basic template to get you started. Vim min max items sets in an array. Yeah, so this requires at least one item, maximum of 4, and they have to be unique. Data types, enum types, enum types. I don't know how I say that. Integer with min and max. Okay, so that's cool. You can set. Yeah, so again, these are just all my notes. Yeah, so some of these are 2017, some of them back from 2016. Yeah, so this is how you max on like course codes, objects, pattern properties, type, string. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Notes. Aha, here we go. Min max length for strings. This is exactly what I was looking for. Again, part of this is just me going back through my notes, but also I was wondering if I actually had something in here that would help. So max length, mine's going to be 144. So we just put this as an attribute. Whoops. All right, so check this out. What should happen, and again, I want to be as explicit as possible with, I'm guessing that's more than 144 characters. With the schema here, so like, I want to lock things down as much as possible, so the text should not be more than 144 characters, so the schema will define it can't be more than 144 characters. Yeah, failed validation, max length, and schema property snippet. Max length 144 type string. Yeah, so max length is what failed. On instance snippet, and then it shows me the text. Okay, cool. Gotcha. So that's what that is. So now the other thing that we want to do, and again, so the ideal thing to do here, and I'll set this up at some other point as I kind of go through these and actually build a test case, is really what I should do is I want a version of that file that fails so that I can run the schema check expecting for it to fail with that particular error to make sure that as I adjust the schema, I don't accidentally make that go away. Now in this case, it's probably unlikely I'm going to make that go away, but just because it's unlikely doesn't mean it wouldn't happen. And in some of the schemas that are going to be more complicated than this, I really want to make sure that I've got a solid backup. So everything I want to test with both the positive side, so does this work, and also does it fail properly if, for example, the character length is 150 characters or 145 characters or anything over 144. Because if that's the case, I want to make sure that I know it fails and something I do doesn't mess it up, right? You know, I want to prove all the parts. And so the other thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that you can't send a snippet with no text. So right now, this is going to pass. Soon. None, passed. Which we don't want because you don't want to send just an empty snippet. So what we're going to do now is just add in min length. Whoops, let me spell it right. Min length 1. And again, so all this stuff is just found. Sometimes I write down where I find this stuff, sometimes I don't. That one actually is probably from this one. So this understanding JSON schema, or from jsonschema.org, is really good, or at least it was. But they show you all kinds of stuff for how to deal with. Here's all the numbers. Yeah, I'm sure that I got this straight from here. So super helpful site. And so now this is going to fail because there's no length in that string. And again, I want to test the failure. So I want to make sure the test goes red, or I want to make sure the test fails before I do the thing that I think is going to fix it. Oop, see, for example, why did that happen? Oh, because I didn't save the file. Aha. Again, I can actually probably switch to Sublime Text. It's got okay JSON support, but well, now I'm confused. Length. I spelled it wrong. Again, make sure your test fails, because I could have done that incorrectly, and because the schema wasn't enforcing at that point the schema wasn't actually enforcing a minimum of 1 character, so somebody could have built something with 0 characters in there, and that's not what we want. So there we go. Now we're seeing it fail with min length on instance snippet with nothing. And then so now, just to prove it again, well, actually, we know this, but yeah, we can, whatever. What's the perfect letter to do? I for hi. I don't know. Waiting. None. Okay, so we passed again. All right, cool. You get the idea. So now what we're going to do is go back. MDI, originally mobile device internet. So that's got our hub init. Actually, we should just call this text. Kind of a refactor. And so now we're just going to add ID, which is a UUID. But yeah, for the UUIDs, actually could, so if that might be a specific format for a UUID, but like all we're really looking for is making sure that they're giant and random and hopefully independent, but I'm not going to put a criteria on there. Or should I? Again, being explicit. As generated random version produced by the site were generated using a secure random number generator. Null empty UUID. What's that? Oh, okay. These all do look like they've got the same format. So actually we should do that because that's actually a thing. UID, come on. Just jump through here for a second. Is Microsoft's different? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 4, 4, 4. I'm assuming that's 12. What's the difference between a... Oh. Majority of center and the UI is first unique. In its canonical representation, the 16 octets of UUID are represented as 16 hexadecimal base 16 digits, displayed in 5 groups separated by hyphens. Form is 8, 4, 4, 12 for a total of 36 characters. Okay, so that actually is the format. So now what we can actually do is come up with a regex for that. Regex. JSON. Set our notes. So it's pattern that we're looking for. All right, so is that gonna go? Yeah. We're gonna add this as pattern. Okay, so this is the start of a regex. This is the end. So the simplest thing to do, it was 8, 4, 4, and 12, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, dash, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are digits, the slash D is. Oh. Why angry? Oh, I gotta do 2 slashes? Oh, wait, but it can be digits or numbers. So it can be word characters. All right. Slash word. Whoops, word. 8 of those. Actually, let's do this. So let's do 9 of those. I think what's going to happen here is it's going to choke on that dash because there's 8 word characters, but I don't know if a dash is considered a word character. That's probably what I want. Regex GC. How do you save? Oh, come on. Please scroll. ASCII letter, digit, or underscore. Okay, so it's underscore, not the dash. Okay, at least that's what it should be. Actually, but we don't want an underscore, so we're gonna do this. 0 through 9, A through Z, A through Z. Is that how that works? We're gonna do 8 of them. We'll see if we can get this to pass. Yeah, I think I'm gonna build a stream PC before I get the stream PC. Because if I do this again before it gets here, none. All right, it passed. Okay, so now, So basically what this is this character means at the start of the string, so starting right after the quote, these square brackets define kind of sets of stuff that it can have happen. So 0 through 9, lowercase a through lowercase z, uppercase a through uppercase z, and then close it. So that means any character, like a character can either be 0 through 9, lowercase a to z, uppercase a through z. And then the squirrely bracket 8 means you can have 8 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's a dash. So what should happen, or hyphen, whatever, is if I do 9, this should fail. Because the dash, so even though there's a dash in here, that dash is a separator, and this is always kind of freaks me out. It looks weird, really weird, but like that dash is just the dash in between the 0 and the 9 and the A's and Z's. So, oh, no. That wasn't supposed to happen. Rough. That doesn't make sense. All right, now we're gonna try going over the word character. Oops, gotta do 2 slashes. All right, let's see what happens with this. Is this gonna choke? What was 8, right? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, dash. Hopefully this dies. Good. Okay. And now if we bring this back to 8, okay, so the word characters is working for us. So those dashes aren't word characters. I don't know why that other one didn't work. So now bring it back to 8, that should work. Cool. All right, so now we can actually build the rest of the pattern because we know what's going on. 8 and then a dash, and then we're gonna do / word, and we want 4 of these with a dash, and then prep another word, and we're allowed to, we want exactly 4 of them, dash, another prep for word, and then 4 of those, dash, word 12 is what the number said. And then end of string. Whoops. End of string. So we want to make sure, basically what that does is the start caret and then the end $, basically make sure that there's nothing else over here, because otherwise you could go forever. Or until it ran out of space. Or memory, whatever. So the question is this going to work? Okay, so you can stop texting anytime. Still texting. Okay. That happens. Whatever. It's fine. Just, I wish there was like a mute for, and there may be. Hey, it worked. That worked fast too. Hope that doesn't mean OBS crashed. I guess go to airplane mode, but I'd forget to turn it back on. Cool. And so now, just to check and verify that it's actually working, we're going to do 1 extra character here. Boom. Good stuff. And now that's going to pass MDI for mobile device internet, which is now the hub initiative. Which actually, do I have HI dash? No, it's not a thing yet. Miscellaneous, West Wing. Player list full. While we're here, I use better renamer 9, which is, I they're up to 12 now or whatever. Let me just show you how. So MDI was what I was using for the mobile device internet. Now I want it to be the hub initiative. Oh, and some of them apparently I did this some other point. Whatever. Dropbox. Oh, wow. Oh, see? Makes me super nervous when it's so unresponsive there that it like does that. I should have done this right now. I'm not gonna do this right now. It's too, machine's too slaggy, luggy, something-y. Laggy, sluggy, sluggish. There we go. Also, that looks weird right now. I'm gonna reboot that. Still looks weird. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's always looked like that? I don't know. That line looks weird. No, something's freaked out. What's going on? Okay. Formats. All right, well, so now we've got from hub ID, and then we're gonna just add an ID. This is gonna be easy because it's the exact same thing. So is that a fresh one? That's a fresh one. ID. I'm actually glad the IDs have a specific format. That's cool. And so now text from hub ID, we're gonna do an ID. Properties from hub ID. Oops, why is that? Here, there you go. ID. This will go faster now. Yeah, see, some of this is just me getting my head back around this stuff. String. And it's going to have the same pattern because it's also a UID, which is going to be one of the big keys that we work on with this. So this should pass. Guess I'll just make sure we're still streaming. Still streaming. Hooray. Wow. That picks up the sound of the mouse there pretty hot. So that passed. So let's do this. We've got that. We got that. We don't have tags yet. We've got text. We don't have timestamp, and we're not sure if we're gonna do links or not. I think we are gonna do links. So now what we're gonna do though is we're gonna do a timestamp. Actually, we can do tags. keep them alphabetized. It's an array. So we're going to make tags. Type, am I in the right place? And now what we want to do is for, whoops. So items type of string. And we're going to define minimum items as 0, max items. See, this is one of those, I'm not sure like what a max number of things should be. If you can't do it in 10 tags, well, I mean, should there be a max number of tags? It seems like, I mean, there has to be some limit in terms of like, eventually you would just eat the entire universe if you did it forever. This is one of those weird decision points. I mean, so some of this is about the constraints of it. So, and also, oh, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. Type string. Oh, I'll bet you can limit the number of characters inside a tag. Yeah, so we should define all this stuff. Max items 10. I put that in required, yep. Oh, I'll show you something about required in just a second. So this, I think, is going to pass. While we wait for that, okay, it passed. Literally have a motherboard sitting right here. That was from an old machine, so that's probably going to become a thing very quickly because this is super slow. And it's super frustrating. And just again to make sure it fails. Oh, actually, if we put a 1 in there, which is not a string, that should fail. So the other thing I would do with testing is I will validate that these fail in all the different ways it can fail. So if it's supposed to be a string, you put in a number or a null, right? Okay, good. It failed because it wanted a string. Ooh, interesting. I wonder. Yeah, items. So I should be able to do max length there as well, right? So let's see if this happens. So this, I think, is going to pass right now because it's an empty string, which we don't want. Anyways, what I would do is set up tests for all of this stuff explicitly to make sure, like, not only does it fail, but it fails in these different ways, right? So Oh, yeah, okay, good. So now what I want to have happen is, and really what I need to do is start building a test case. That needs to be one of the next things I do because I want to get too much farther in this before I do that. So I'm about to call this one for tonight. So I think I'll work on building that test case next time. But right now I want to do this. Min length 1. Don't need a thing there. And now this should fail. Yeah, I need to build that test case. I really don't want to go any farther than that. Whoa. Did it again. Make sure it fails first. Yeah, I know I've got code somewhere around here that does the tests. Yeah, tag 0, minimum length 1 type string. So that'll pass because it thinks it's a string, even though it's a number, but it's a string. Cool. Okay. So we made some progress on that. And again, this is one of those, like, a bunch of that stuff was me just burning through all this to figure stuff out and how to reduce JSON schemas. Made 34 lines of code there and 6 there, so 40 lines of code in an hour and a half. So you do the numbers, you do the math. But looked around, found a whole bunch of other stuff, and got some stuff set up. Oh, I guess technically this counts too. Well, it was just copy and paste. Never mind. So yeah, cool. All right, that's it for tonight. Hope y'all enjoy it, or that's it for now. Hope y'all enjoy it because you might be seeing this later in YouTube or something. I don't know. I don't have a good way to exit out of these, so I'm just gonna exit out of these as soon as I get OBS back up, which is so slow that I can't actually bring OBS up. So thanks, folks. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you around.